Get ready for back to school with H&M. From mix and match basics to new denim styles, find their favorites for in and out of the classroom at your nearest H&M and on hm.com.
News team, assemble!
It's back and bigger than ever. It's the Unofficial 40 from Soonerscoop.com. Now, here's the entire Sooner Scoop crew. Carrie, Josh, Eddie, and
George.
All right, welcome back. It is another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast right here on Soonerscoop.com, broadcasting from a historic campus corner right here at the University of Oklahoma. And we welcome in the full crew once again for another edition of the Unofficial 40 podcast. Josh McCuistion, Eddie Radosovich, George Stoya, and myself. And as Eddie said on his practice report, Monday, the new set ships out. So we'll be going to video soon.
It's crazy.
With the Unofficial 40.
It's a long time coming, but it's definitely here. Kind of like this football season. It's a long time coming, but we're basically within a arm's grasp of the start of the 2025 season.
I think like everything else, too,
Shut
it's
up,
like,
George.
I have been getting a lot of like shipping, like when you have like freight coming in, it's like, okay, what kind of, do you have a loading dock? And all these questions I have to answer. So I'm down to that now, planning the delivery of things. So very exciting. Oh, we got to turn George's mic on.
How do I do that?
There's going to be 4 yellow lights, and then hit the next 2 in the edit bay. We'll see if Eddie can do this. We're attempting a task that we've never done before, which is just to allow me. Josh, how are you doing today? While Eddie attends to George's microphone that I forgot that I'm at fault for not turning on.
I'm trying to think what is more scary for you, them alone in the control room or you just having to cede that control. I know neither of those things do you enjoy.
No, I'm getting that.
I'm on.
Eddie was successful. There you go.
Hey, nicely done.
No, I'm trying. Our intern Andrew, I'm starting to take him through the board so I can relinquish some of those duties. And let's face it, I need to do other things besides just be a producer. Although a lot of people,
where does the Kings of Leon go next?
They're in the UK already.
A little trip across the pond.
Got the new song coming out Friday with Zach Bryan. Very excited for that.
Did you? Not to completely just change the subject, but I got really jealous. Like, I've been very anti moving games over to Europe. Just like the whole experience. I texted George the other day, like just getting through the airport at Heathrow or wherever you land to get to Ireland. Heathrow's in England, isn't it?
It's in London, yeah.
Okay, never mind.
It's London.
Either way, it sounds like a nightmare going to cover a game like that. But this morning I saw that Tim Fitzgerald's over there, and they're taking a tour of one of the Irish whiskey distilleries. And that was the only moment that I was like, well, I guess it wouldn't be that bad if you went over there to cover a game. All right, sorry.
No,
It just made me think of it.
I
going to Europe.
almost think at this point Dublin's like the second America.
The thing with...
Aren't they having like a civil war over in Ireland right now with the immigrants? Dead serious.
I have no idea.
You two will have a song about it if they do.
I just the whole. I mean, it's great for us as the viewer. I can tell you that I don't think a lot of people are too fired up within the programs that are actually playing in it, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. Like next year when Michigan plays Western Michigan, I guess that makes a little bit more sense. But having
how does that make any sense?
Well, it doesn't. But it doesn't make any sense having Farmageddon.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Like this is
a massive game in the Big 12.
It's probably the second biggest game for, maybe even the biggest game for Iowa State this year. Second biggest game for Kansas State, other than the Kansas game of their season, and they're having to play it in week 0 in a foreign country. It's awesome. Like, I'm excited to watch the game, but it's kind of crazy. Like that game, if we look up at the end of the season, could determine like if one of those teams is in the Big 12 championship game or makes the playoff. Like
you imagine
I just
how much,
think it's
like,
kind of stupid.
Just paranoia the coaches have to have, that even like just a regular coach going into, Brent Venables going into a game against Illinois State.
Hey, Campbell, what are you doing?
What is this?
You're on the hot seat.
Matt Campbell's on the hot seat. That's where he tried to fight that
Oh,
fan.
at the Iowa State game?
Yeah, he
Matt
tried to
Campbell's had
fight
a
the
little
fan.
bit of a renaissance. Until I think when the Big 12 did their media day, I'd kind of forgotten that Iowa State went 10-3 last year. It's a big year for Rocco Becht. I'm a big Rocco Becht guy. I might be cheering for Iowa State on Saturday.
Rocco Becht's
Haven't
the kind of
decided.
guy that you want to bet money on for some reason. Like you feel like maybe there's people strong-arming people in Vegas to make sure he gets his
Well, and I know
stuff.
that his dad is readily available on Twitter, and I can tweet at him if I have any displeasure.
Is
with
he
Rocco
crazy?
Becht. No, he's a good guy. He used to help out with some of the rivals camps back in the day.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Anthony
okay.
Becht.
I remember.
Played in the NFL for, I don't know, probably 10 years, something like that.
Yeah, played for the Jets for a long
Maybe
time.
even
Really good player.
longer than 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, but no. Iowa State, Matt Campbell. I mean, I just love his crazy. I mean,
He's going to lose his shit.
Yeah.
At some point tomorrow or Saturday.
Kansas State is the type of team that makes you lose your shit.
100%. And guys, the thing about it is it feels like the NFL, like I get it. Like they're the biggest sport in the United States, and like they're trying to reach out just the same way soccer is trying to get into the United States through England and their European leagues. I get that, but like college football, I'm like, you guys are at least 15 years too early. Like you're trying way too hard to establish some sort of football when I know talking to English soccer fans, they're like, wait, like these are just university teams. Like they don't see college sports the same way we do. And I think it just kind of minimizes the whole value of it. Like they're never going to care. Like Iowa State could go over there every year for 10 years and nobody's going to give a shit about Cyclones football in Dublin.
Yeah, and you look in the. I mean, it's not a big stadium they played in last year, and it is
the same one this
Is it
year.
the
Yeah.
same one this year?
It's like 55,000.
I think it's
But
a
it's-
rugby field.
It is
stadium.
almost like a vacation trip for your own fan base, and I mean, I'm sure that we know Kansas State fans will travel.
But the other problem, I mean, I guess it's a vacation for the incredibly rich fans, but like from a university perspective, Kansas State's giving up a home football game for this.
I think OU doing something like this would be like OU playing a Thursday night game. Like,
Look, I can
and I
tell
don't
you
know how the
this.
future's going to be.
I've
without
talked
Joe,
to people. OU has never been approached for this type of a game, and I have been told that it would take a tremendous situation for them to have to go play in this because they are definitely not going. They're not willing to give up a home football game.
Isn't Georgia and Georgia Tech playing for like in the Mercedes-Benz Dome for like $12 million or something?
Yeah, they're moving it from the home and home in Atlanta and Athens, and I think they are playing at Mercedes-Benz.
No,
this
I think
year.
OU
That'd
can
be like
the naming
taking
rights and all
Bedlam
that
and
kind of
moving it
stuff.
to Arlington.
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, the
It'd be
only
kinda fun.
games that should be played on a neutral site are OU Texas, Georgia Florida, Army Navy. That's it. That might be it. That might be my list of games that should be staying at a neutral site. Outside of that, I think I agree with Big Cat. They were talking about on the PMT this week, talking about moving the Super Bowl possibly to London.
That'd be ridiculous.
I'm anti-grow the game. Yeah. Keep it in America.
Yeah, I mean, it would be ridiculous to do that. But,
I'd go back to, what was it, 98 when OU opened the season against Northwestern in Chicago at Soldier Field. I'm still down for a good, like, non-conference, neutral site, Dallas, Atlanta, Charlotte, wherever. Let's just keep everything inside the country.
yeah.
I mean, I won't lie. I hate the kickoff games like in NFL stadiums. Like it's so there's no atmosphere. It doesn't feel like
it's
college
terrible.
football to me. So that kills me a little bit. But like in the right scenarios, like I'm okay with it. Like it can be okay. But like in a lot of these like you said, like Chicago, where there's not like a big groundswell of like college football fanaticism. I don't know about that.
Here's
But,
the
like,
thing, though.
If OU want to play Florida like in Jacksonville, cool. Yeah, great. Go do that.
When OU was playing a Big 12 schedule, it wasn't that big of a deal because, I mean, your home games were not the most appealing. I mean, even that might have been good teams like Kansas State and Iowa State or Baylor. It was still those teams. It wasn't like a Georgia or a Michigan or like somebody that got everybody excited. Like literally this year, people, and we talked about it last week, they can sell their tickets to the Michigan game and pay for their season ticket prices.
Those things are going. My cousins, I might have said this last week, but my cousins bought a pair of tickets. They're coming in from Virginia Beach for the OU Michigan game and didn't really know what the ticket sales were looking like. And I got on Game Time And I mean, they ended up buying a pair up in like section 20 for like $380 a piece, I think. They're higher than I can remember for like even the Tennessee game last year. I don't remember exactly what those tickets were, but I don't remember them being like this.
Well, I think it's because the Michigan fans probably are trying to buy
sure.
And driving
it's a unique trip. I'm very, very excited about going to Ann Arbor.
Yeah, that's going to be.
See, I'm
Never
more
been to
likely to
Detroit.
make that trip. Like how often you get to see a game at Michigan like that?
Sure.
That's incredibly cool.
I think that's it. There's a lot that goes into why the OU Michigan game is going to be a massive game that second weekend, namely because it's the best game of the country. But definitely some excitement to see like a fan base that you just don't really have a whole lot of connection to. I know OU's played Michigan in the NCAA tournament, things like that, but you just don't have too much crossover between OU and Michigan in very many sports. I say that. I guess they've played softball and baseball, so
Basketball.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Fears.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the Jeremiah Fears game?
Was that against Michigan?
When he like hit
Early
in the season, the Jordan Classic
I
thing.
was thinking NCAA tournament.
Oh, yeah.
No. Yeah, definitely.
By the way, Game Time is coming back. I'm just actually getting breaking news from our sales department. They'll be back, and we'll be up and running next week. So, yeah, that should be your ticketing outlet of choice if you don't mind, if you want to support the pod. So, Game Time will be back, and we'll have all the information about specials and how to get discounts and all that stuff coming up.
Game Time, they make the ticket buying process just super easy. But I will say, there is a part of me that like my heart breaks a little bit walking up to the stadium on game day, and you no longer have
the guy standing out.
Yeah,
with the
like
tickets.
the need to guy, because you just don't have like
Need tickets,
I
buying
loved a
tickets, all the
physical
same guy.
ticket. Like
We used to
having the paper copy.
I remember my dad. I think my dad I don't know. I think he stopped getting the paper ones, which was a sad day. But I remember when I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
we would have
season
extra
ticket
tickets.
arrival day.
Yeah, but I remember like it'd be they were playing North Texas or somebody, and I remember he would have me hold as we're walking to, because we had a parking spot. Everybody has their parking spot, and we would walk, and I would hold the 2 or 3 tickets that we had left, and then we'd sell them for cash, and then we'd use that cash to buy peanuts and water.
Oh, at the stadium?
Yeah, we always got a bag of peanuts at the stadium.
You might have to sell like 10 tickets to be able to afford that nowadays, but neither here nor there. The season ticket arrival day in the Radosevich household was a massive day.
Big day.
You knew exactly what was in that manila envelope.
And the tickets were cool, in the early 2000s, especially.
you'd have
it was like a player on each one, like it was like
dedicated-
Adrian Peterson.
for sure.
It was those were cool, man.
Those were awesome.
And I used to collect them. Like I remember I had in my bedroom like a drawer full of old tickets.
I still have I think I still have that somewhere.
I think
at
I
my
do too,
parents'
but-
house.
yeah, same.
That now I just collect media credentials. I think I have like almost every media credential I've ever owned.
Yeah, I hold on to those. The other thing I do now is I take the nameplate in the press box.
I have that one from LSU last year.
Those
was
were nice.
awesome.
Those were nice,
It was like
yeah.
laminated and shit.
Some of them are cheap ass ones that are just like paper.
I was
others.
the same at your ages.
I have a bunch of James
I would
Hill
keep
ones.
everything. Okay, I would keep everything, but I decided to not be a pack rat. I threw almost all of them away, except for the really good ones.
The the BCS bowls and stuff.
Yeah,
those are
I
cool
keep
because they're
those. Fiesta
laminated.
bowls
They're like collector's items almost.
Yeah.
I was at the 2019 Sugar Bowl or Peach Bowl. It was awesome.
I saw that score the other day. Somebody had it in a note or something, and I was just like, good God.
Oh, we should say congratulations too to Tommy Tubberville, national champion now. That's pretty cool.
Oh, God. Alabama's doing that thing where they drum up
Auburn.
Auburn's doing that thing where they drum up every possible
They are claiming
championship.
They won
ever could've
4
won.
national championships on Tuesday.
I mean, Alabama's done that forever too, though. I mean, and USC does it. OU only counts AP and UPI coaches.
I think it was 1958, the one that they're one of the 4 that they're claiming that all the boys were at war.
Well,
they weren't even in America.
Don't
at the
forget,
time.
Oklahoma State claimed that in 1945 that Army won.
Sure.
I mean, and it was 6 years ago or something.
It's just a weird thing. George, you pointed it out on Twitter on Tuesday, but just a weird time to announce something like that. I would like to know the ideology from the athletic department that goes, you know what, we need to really circle in on this. We're going to claim 4 other national championships.
Well, they need to claim as many championships as they can because it doesn't sound like this season's going to go very well.
I couldn't be more out on Auburn, and I may look really stupid, but I could not be more. I told Eddie I would put money on the Baylor money line next Friday.
Do you think?
I tell you what.
Go ahead.
Let's get to all the Jackson Arnold stuff that's floating around out there, the quarterback stuff, the offensive coordinator stuff.
OU has a season 2.
Yeah, OU has a season 2. But first, we want to tell you about Cody Drug RX, our good friends, Will Douglas over at Cody Drug. They do great stuff in the community. They're out of Texas, but they are servicing you folks in Oklahoma as well. If you're looking for more energy, better focus, or just want to stay ahead of the game, you can check out all their great supplements from Cody Drug. They have a weight loss pack. I'm getting ready to start on that. And just go watch their Instagram page. Will does a great job of talking you through the different supplements and the different things that they have that can help you just live a better everyday life. Also, check out NAD Plus injections from Cody Drug. Next big thing, tons of Hollywood celebrities are doing it. It's kind of just helps you, feel a little bit younger. I don't want to say anything that's not true, but we've had them here. We've got the nasal spray, the injections. They've got their state-of-the-art sterile lab, so they custom compound everything in there, including specialized medications for men's health, weight loss, anti-aging, and more. They also love working with Oklahoma med spas and clinics, so if you're in healthcare, they're ready to team up. Again, that's CodyDrugRx.com. Go check them out. Go check out their Instagram, Cody Drug RX. You'll feel better faster without running all those stadium steps that Schmitty makes them run. And I know, it's been interesting because Hugh Freeze has interesting vision. I think it's pretty good, but he also likes to throw hats, or at least visors. But he didn't like what he saw at practice the other day. I know you saw a little bit because you have great vision, Eddie.
I do. He might actually be the only person that LASIK would ever turn down or enjoy. Our good friends over at Enjoy Vision. When the Thunder rolls, LASIK strikes. Oklahoma City brought home the title. It's your turn to score big with LASIK and Enjoy Vision. Just $20.25 per eye. That is $20.25 per eye. You can schedule a free consultation today by going to enjoyvision.com. That is the letter NJOY vision.com, and seal the deal with LASIK. Enjoy Vision. This is where you LASIK.
Okay, so back to the Auburn stuff, and kind of my 2 cents on it is I don't like all the, pointing and oh, haha, look at Jackson Arnold stuff, because I think that's, the kid played hard here. I mean, he gave up his body last year against Alabama, ran the ball really hard, and really, I know, George, you had spoke to people, and they're like, he's just tired of getting killed at Oklahoma, and, was a big reason why he transferred, but some of those things that we saw at Oklahoma last year look like they're showing up in some of Auburn's practices. But the thing is, just my advice is just let it go. It doesn't make last year any better that he's, and we don't know. I mean, he's still yet to play games at Auburn. It's just that Hugh Freeze left open the possibility of playing 3 quarterbacks against Baylor in the season opener, which isn't just a throwaway game. I mean, that's going to be a difficult game for them to win. And then the stuff about the 3 offensive coordinators, it just, having different plays and different downs that they're going to call plays, it just seems like such a mess in Auburn right now.
Yeah, and I mean, I hope Jackson succeeds. I think he's a good kid. I think what we're starting to see, and we'll have to see how it plays out. You never know. Maybe they end up being great. But my takeaway from it is, I wonder if Jackson just made a mistake going there. I don't know if the best thing for Jackson's development and the next step in his career was to go somewhere where there seems to be a lot of confusion on play calling.
But he's got a great team around him. He's got good receivers.
Yeah, but his head coach is a dick who has.
He just likes massages.
He's also shown after the last couple of years in Auburn that he's not the most supportive of his starting quarterback at times. And now Peyton Thorne, I don't think was a great player, but we saw it. I just don't know if that's exactly what Jackson needs. Maybe
he's not afraid to throw his quarterbacks under the bus for sure.
Yeah, and that's where I'm I just don't know. For a guy that I think struggled with confidence last year here in Norman, going to a place where the coach isn't exactly instilling a lot of confidence in you. I just don't know if that's what's best for him. And that part,
remember last year,
I think it kind of sucks for Jackson because I think he is a good kid and I think he's got a lot of talent.
And remember last year, there were times where we were just like, Brent, just step up and say Jackson Arnold is not making enough plays. And he would never do it. I mean, he would kind of, hit around about, we've got to be better here. We've got to make plays when they're available. But they never came out and just criticized him as an individual, as a player, as his ability. And Hugh Freeze, I mean, we saw what he did with Peyton Thorne last year. I think it was like his coach's show. He threw him under the bus. And he's not been that supportive of Jackson Arnold or his confidence, or he doesn't treat him with any type of fragility.
I do think he'll be the quarter. I know is he even going to start when he comes to Norman? I do think he will.
I'm going to say he won't. I'm going to say he's going to have lost the starting job by that time, or they go with somebody else. Maybe that's the first time he starts his back. That would be terrible.
I don't know. I don't know. I go back and forth. I think that game on that Friday night is going to be a lot of fun though, because I think Baylor's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, they should be.
They lost their running back.
Yeah, I think it was going to be like a tandem thing. So he was going to be like a 1-2 punch type of deal. So maybe they're going to be able to, I guess stomach that injury.
We all like their QB though.
Yeah, their quarterback Jake Spavital's still there.
Sawyer Robertson, right?
Yeah,
he was tearing it up at the end of the year last year.
Their defense is supposed to be pretty good this year.
I just don't know, like, Josh, don't you think like this is like one of those perfect examples too of like looking through the SEC lens, like can Baylor match up from an offensive line, defensive line standpoint? That's going to be the big question mark. And if they can, I think it should be a really good game. I mean, on paper, it's what did we see yesterday? Auburn's favored by 2.5.
Yeah,
going into next Friday.
Well, and sorry, that's the interesting part because Auburn's offensive line is actually pretty good. Like, I mean, that should be a strength for that team. Where the question is on the defensive side of the ball, but they do have a mutant in the Keldrick Falk kid that's really, really good. There's kind of a question of what's around him. So with Baylor, like they return some, they've got some experience. They're not like a team that had to rebuild or anything like that. But to me, it's really a question of if their defensive line can force Jackson Arnold to have to make some throws. Like, is he going to have to, in the fourth quarter, make some tough calls, or can they just kind of grind them, and then by the fourth quarter, Baylor's a little bit beat up? But, guys, if there's any coach in the Big 12 that is familiar with what it looks like in the SEC, what you got to have, it's Dave Aranda. I mean, he knows. So, I'm with George. I think outside of Arkansas, Auburn's the one team where I'm just like, ooh, I don't like what I see. Because we're talking about the national championship things. Did they not think they had been the butt of enough jokes over the last few weeks? Like they needed to be a part of another one? Like it feels like every time I hear about Auburn, it's not in a good light. They sound more and more comical.
But they remember 2 years ago, they spent as much money as anybody for a lot of those guys. I mean,
I do think they have a talented roster.
Yeah.
I just don't believe in their head coach whatsoever.
And I kind of like Freeze. Like, I think he's okay. I mean, I can't ignore what he did at Ole Miss when nobody used to win at Ole Miss. I mean, I know now it's, that's just what you do, but that wasn't the norm forever and ever. But what I'll say, like, what I do think is interesting is clearly they were planning, and you could tell it in the way Freeze talked the last couple of years. Like, they were building toward this year. This was going to be the year. They had that big recruiting class the last couple of years, and they'd spent a lot of money on that. And then this year, it was like, okay, we're going to portal. We're going to get the right guys at quarterback. We're going to win there. Well, there weren't really a lot of options at quarterback. I mean, I think Miami was going to outspend them. Obviously, Oklahoma had the connection with John Mateer, so there weren't a lot of quarterbacks that you could go and say, well, yeah, that guy will make us better. So it feels like they were like, well, we got a lot of money at quarterback. We're going to get Jackson Arnold. We're going to get the kid, I think, from Stanford is the other kid. And they were just like, we're just going to do it that way, and maybe it'll play out. But so far, it doesn't sound like it's played out quite the way they hoped it would.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know, another opponent, Tennessee, it's like you just keep waiting to hear, like, you thought the Aguilar kid would be a surefire starter with the numbers he put up, and he was FBS, right?
They announced him as the starter.
They announced him as the starter. I missed that.
Or at least it was reported he's going to be the starter.
Okay. But just the back and forth, and maybe that was just Josh Heupel's timetable, what he wanted to do. But Josh, I would say probably that team out of everybody on OU's schedule that they played a year ago is probably going to look the most different. Just in terms of talent, talent-wise, and how many good players they had a year ago versus this year. If not experience or inexperienced guys.
Yeah, I mean, you just think of the bodies they threw at Oklahoma up front, especially it's a total role reversal where we may not be sure Oklahoma's offensive line is going to be great, but they've got a lot of bodies. They can fix some problems if they have them. Like now they're having to figure out their numbers because they lost so much depth and so much talent. Now, they've recruited well. They've got good players. It's just last year they could beat you to death with 10 guys on their defensive front. It was kind of, it's not exactly where OU is because OU's guys are a little less experienced than some of what they had last year, but their depth was insane last year. It was just crazy.
I'm trying to think, and maybe Missouri is on that list too, to be consideration as a team that's just not quite as good, on paper as they were a year ago. Man, Luther Burden's doing pretty well in preseason so far.
Yeah, he had a really nice game on Sunday. I think Ole Miss is in that conversation.
Yeah,
as well. I mean, I just don't know what
defensive line lost,
but I'm
quarterback lost.
I'm a big Jackson Dart guy. I think he's going to find some success with the Giants. I just don't know how
I thought he
quickly
should have
that's
been the
going to be.
second quarterback taken in the draft.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, I don't know, Josh. What would you say between Michigan, Ole Miss? Let's throw Tennessee in there. Which one of those is the most difficult win?
Ooh. I think Ole Miss is there to be gotten this year. I like what I've seen of the Austin Simmons kid, but they lost so much. That's really hard to just replace that in a year in the SEC. And Tennessee being a road game, I don't care. Guys, we saw OU go in there with Baker Mayfield, and it wasn't fully formed Baker Mayfield, but they struggled. OU was lucky to get out of there with a win. We all know that.
Yeah, people wanted him benched at halftime.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Michigan is the one that is the most gettable, and some of it is matchup because if you're playing Michigan in Game 10, Michigan might be pretty damn scary.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Getting them as early as you're getting them is a nice break. Bryce Underwood won't have a lot of experience yet, and Brent Venables is going to throw a bunch of crap at him he's never seen. He hadn't seen it on tape. OU's going to confuse him. He'll probably throw a pick or, he'll give OU an opportunity for a turnover, something like that. So, again, it's not that Michigan's not talented. I just think they're replacing a lot. They've lost just monsters on the defensive line. And OU just needs that one so bad. They've got to be as good a performance as you could give on a week 2. They need to be there.
Do we want to go Doom Pod?
I was going to say
because
can I say this real quick?
Yeah.
And we talked about this on one of the recruiting reports that we did. I think it was on Wednesday. I left last night after hearing from Todd Bates and Emmett Jones and Jay Valai, kind of spending the entire 25-minute drive home. Are they going to be really good? Everything that came out of yesterday was just so superb, so over the top. We have Malik Neighbors comparisons. Stephon Gilmore comparisons at quarterback. I walked away holy shit. Now, I'm in the show me. I'm in Team Show Me, not Team 131, Team Show Me. But before we Doom Pod this, I was very excited to talk about a lot of the defensive line stuff that we heard from Todd Bates. I thought the David Stone stuff was great. But if we want to shit on everything, I'm more than down.
I just want Cade McFarland to know we don't have 17 pods. We only have 6 or 7.
I think Caden's just a big OU. I think he's a closeted OU fan. He fronts as a Notre Dame fan, but
he was one of our weekly guests for the Tulsa game last year, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago.
Was that 2 years? Oh yeah, that was.
It was 2023.
10-3 year.
Yeah.
See, I thought you were trying to Doom Pod us.
I am going to Doom Pod us here.
Okay.
This is a game, the Michigan game, that in the last 3 years, I don't know if Brent Venables wins this game. And that's to
I think
me,
that's fair.
this is a game that you have got to get over that hump. And then after that, there's more humps to get over.
Maybe even like finding ways to win in the second half, in the fourth quarter. That, I think as much positivity that's been out there, everybody knows that they've been in close games in the fourth quarter over the last 3 years. And even in the 10-3 season, yeah, sure, you found some ways to win, but did you win the games that you really had to? And no, you didn't.
Yeah, and you look at Brent's record in one-score games. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's not great. And I just worry that if Oklahoma gets in a tight game, what does it look like down the stretch? And my other question, too, is just, can Oklahoma win in the trenches? I think we all believe in this defensive line, but what if, here's where you go down the doom pod. What if this defensive line that we all think is going to be great, what if they're just good? They're not great. And then this offensive line that we still have, I think, a lot of questions about, isn't able to hold up against Michigan. And all of a sudden you're in a dogfight and it's a one-score game late in the fourth quarter. Like, that's the part that I'm like, you can't lose this game. And this is a game that, like I said, I just don't, in the first 3 years under Brent Venables, this isn't a game he's won.
Yeah, I mean, look,
George,
go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say, George's point on the D-line, that's the thing I can't get out of my head. Like, I've been a big proponent of this D-line's one of the best in the country. I've been saying it a long time. Like, I believe that. But there's not that guy that you're like, he is a top 10 NFL pick. Like, there's not that guy that you say everything gravitates around him. R. Mason Thomas is a very good player. Jaden Jackson's a very good player, et cetera, et cetera. Like, we can go down the list, and there's a ton of depth, and I get all that. But they don't have the Gerald McCoy, the Tommy Harris, that guy that you're just like, I don't care who you block him with, you can't deal with him. There's just no way.
I think ESPN came out with their top 100 NFL draft picks going into next year. Oh, you didn't have a guy in there, which I was a little bit surprised. No R. Mason Thomas, no Jaden Jackson.
I think the thing with R. Mason,
that might be different because he's not draft eligible. But
the thing with R. Mason is, I think teams want to see him do it again. Like, was last year an anomaly? Some of his sacks, came late in games, against some opponents that, like a Tulane, right? What did he have, like 2 or 3 sacks in a row? Well, that takes up, 30% of the sacks that he had all of last season. The Auburn game, same situation. And that's where it's like you get sucked back in. If OU can have some leads late, maybe you can unleash an R. Mason Thomas or a Danny Okoye or whoever it is up front. That's the same thing I have, Josh. On paper, I think Oklahoma's defensive line is one of the best in the country. But can they consistently do it? Can they stay healthy? Like, all of those questions, I think, are more than valid, and that's where you get into the doom pod.
I think
we're back here.
I think also that
we have a special guest joining us.
I think that it's also one of those things that if OU would have won some of those games when R. Mason did close, like the Missouri game, you remember that a lot more fondly. If they win that game, you remember the plays that R. Mason made, as opposed to maybe getting covered up by the way that they lost some of those games.
I think Al Eschbach has just wandered into our office.
Al, what's going on?
Let's get him on the pod.
There he is.
Back here.
We're in the middle of the pod, and we want you to come on it now.
Where you at?
We're
Right here.
Right here, in this room. George will find you.
Okay.
There he is.
Football is finally back, and so is the hard-hitting gridiron action on PrizePicks. With millions of members and billions of dollars awarded in winnings, PrizePicks is the best place to put your takes to the test. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code SPOTIFY and get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. That's code SPOTIFY on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly in lineups when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get $50 in lineups just for playing, guaranteed. PrizePicks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
Yeah, you got to sit down. You got to join us on the pod here.
It's the first.
Professor Eschbach is in the house.
Nice.
You also get to lodge a complaint for George Stoy never took your class at OU.
George is smart.
It was a great class.
Yeah, Eddie was in it.
Yeah.
What year is that, man?
Long time ago. Unfortunately, I'm getting to the point where I feel very, very old when I go to these events now. 15 years ago, probably.
That's unbelievable.
It's crazy.
We had some fun, didn't we?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Al, you'll like this. We have interns now. We pay them. So
that is.
you've been asking me when are we going to get interns forever.
And Eddie, you know all you people you gotta intern. It has to be
absolutely.
And Eddie,
how I started
you had some people that are doing well now, and they interned. They
That's
did the
how
right
Eddie's
things.
here. He interned with us.
I interned over there and interned down here in Norman.
This is a big league setup you have here, man. This is
cool.
Across the hall, it's even bigger.
You know,
I
see the podcast, but then when you come in and you see where you're doing it and everything, it's really cool.
And there's our man Josh right there in Houston.
That is big time.
We were trying to doom pod before you got here, talking about all the things that could go wrong with OU football this year.
There's a lot of things that could go
There's
wrong.
a lot. There's a lot.
You know what's crazy, guys, and maybe I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, and I read all the stuff that you guys post and everything. It's people say the SEC, and I go, they lost the Navy. I mean,
yeah.
No, I heard somebody saying it, and I can't remember who it was. It might have been like Josh Pate or somebody, but he was basically saying, like, the SEC was never as dominant as people made him out to be. Nick Saban was dominant. And when he left, like, what's happened to the SEC since then?
OU was always better than Missouri, Mississippi, South Carolina. I mean, are you kidding me? Always better. So why now it's the SEC? You're in the SEC. OU was always better than those schools.
But I think Al, that's what hurt the fan base so much last year is that you finally get in the SEC
by South Carolina.
and you're losing to Missouri the way you lost to them. The South Carolina game was over before it started. Like, it was embarrassing to the fan base to go into that league that everybody said for years. Even their slogan, it just means more. Like, OU fans were like, no, it doesn't. Every time we played an SEC team under Bob, we beat them for the most part.
Yeah, beat Alabama. I mean, here's the thing. They appear to be pretty talented. And quarterback, and Brent talked about it the other on Friday, was when you're a better quarterback. Last year, how many games were they had the better quarterback?
Not very many.
This year, in most of the games, they should.
Let me ask you this. We've all known Brent for a long time. Past 3 years, what he's going through with his wife, was terrible, and I'm glad to hear that she's doing better now. But, like, he's just kind of been, like, to me, knowing him for as long as he's had his head down. I haven't bothered him. I haven't tried to reach out to him all that much. But, like, you could just tell, like, this has been a big job for him, and it's taken kind of all of his energy and focus just to keep his head above water right
Sort of reminds me when Steve Owens, a hero, became athletic director here.
Oh, yeah.
And things didn't go well. And he took it personal.
Yeah.
It crushed him. I think some of the things with Brent had not been used to what's gone on, and the criticism, and I think it is worn on him. You talked about his wife, Julie, battling cancer, and but Brent's made some bad decisions.
Sure, and he's admitted that.
And he admitted that.
He's
You're right.
Better, yeah.
And I think Arbuckle.
Seth Luttrell is the worst one.
Yeah, I go back in OU history. Go back to 1998, Blake's last year. 99, they bring in John Blake. They bring in Leach, and they bring in Heupel.
Sure.
Look at often, and then Lincoln Riley comes in, and they brings in Baker.
Right.
So look at when a coordinator and a quarterback can
special
do
things happen.
That. Yeah, special things can happen. So
they brought along a certain sense of confidence too that is pretty surprising, considering they put out one of the worst offenses in the modern era of the university last year.
And Al, you and
now
I,
with the just positivity overall.
Al could talk about that better than anybody, but I've seen the Gary Gibbs era wasn't good. I mean, offensively everything dried up, but the John Blake stuff, when they brought in Dick Winder, was it Winder?
Dick Winder,
yeah.
I mean, it was good for a little bit, but the Schnellenberger thing, it ended up being terrible. But like those John Blake offenses, the back to the bone stuff and all that, last year, I would say, is the closest that OU's ever been in my lifetime to just being that inept on offense.
And Blake had no quarterbacks. Think of it. I mean, the quarterbacking was horrible. And last year, the quarterback
Jake Seals and Patrick Fletcher.
And think about it. You mentioned Dick Winder. Dick Winder and Joe Dickinson are the only two offensive coaches at OU history since World War II that have never become head coaches.
It's crazy.
Every other offensive coach had been a head coach. Luttrell was a head coach before.
Hell, Kevin Sumlin became a head coach being a co-coordinator.
Yeah.
He wasn't even calling plays.
So I think there's reason for optimism. I really, really do, because on offense, are they better at every offensive position they were a year ago?
Just by having guys available, they're better at wide receiver.
I'm going to make everybody bad and say Bauer
Well,
Sharp is a better tight end.
you would think that
If used correctly,
you would think the offensive lineman will be better. You got some new blood and everything, and
Sure.
Yeah, running back, you're going to be better.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
quarterback.
Think about it. I mean, they basically told Jackson Arnold, "Don't throw the ball. You're better. Our offense is better off with you not throwing the ball and running it." And that's how they won the Alabama game. I mean, if he threw 30 passes in that Alabama game, they never would have won.
We don't bring up leadership. There was no leadership on offense, none.
Yeah.
And now you see Mateer, what he's done, bringing leadership. I mean, that we don't talk about. I mean, I think that is huge.
Yeah. He's the first quarterback that I'd ever heard of, and I just asked him off the cuff one day, like, you spend any time talking to offensive linemen about what they do? And he was like, yeah, I sit in meetings and we had Bill Biedenbaugh.
Yeah, that was a great clip.
And he was like, yeah, I look up and he's sitting in my meetings, and I bet he's wondering what the hell have I got myself into.
Well, I told you knew because you guys. I told you I had a girlfriend of a starting offensive line in my class last year, and she gave me all the info, and they did not like Jackson.
You also
Arnold.
had like the
Not a
best
big fan.
friend of like Quinn Ewer's girlfriend.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was the class that we went and spoke
Yeah,
at.
we went to,
Yeah.
and she basically asked us the question like, why does Arch Manning get so much hype, when Quinn Ewers is playing so well, or what? Something like that.
Yeah, I just think you put some intangibles together, and they got a chance to be pretty good. Have you seen ESPN's list of the top 100 players?
Yeah, we were just talking about it.
Okay. One OU player? Give me a physical
crazy.
break. That in the days top 100. We're not talking top 10. We're talking top 100. I mean,
I will say, I don't know if you saw what was released with the Senior Bowl top 300. Oh, you had a lot of players on that one. And you're just like, okay, well, the roster's better than, looking at that, the roster's better than
And I think there's a number of guys that are going to be on that list in time to come. I mean, Jake
No
Jackson,
doubt.
obviously,
Yeah,
Danny Okoye, David Stone. Those guys are going to be on that list
Joe
at some
Jackson,
point.
Jay Knott. I mean, they're
You've seen a ton of great defensive tackles in your time. What do you think of Jaden Jackson?
I think he's a star. I mean, he's one of those guys that you go back when they had some of the great ones. He's in that class. He's going to be.
It's easy to kind of make like that Dusty comparison because Dusty came in the shadow of Tommy Harris. Jaden Jackson came in under the shadow of David Stone. But like to me, I think you got to go somewhere else. I mean, probably back to some of Switzer's guys.
Well, Ricky Bryant.
Yeah, Ricky Bryant. Yeah,
I think that would be a comparison. The defensive front is really, really good.
That's the one area of the team right now that I feel like it's going to take a lot of things, like injuries, for them not to be super,
and they got
super
depth
good.
too.
Yeah. I mean, when was the last time you could talk about 4, 5, maybe 6 guys just at the interior?
Well, and I think we didn't hear anything about Marvin Jones Jr. Then all of a sudden, fall camp starts, and it's like Marvin Jones Jr. is really coming along. So you didn't expect him, but it was all Taylor Wine before that.
And here's the thing: we talk about recruiting all the time, and they've gotten 5 stars, but the 5 stars, Adebawari, Peyton Bowen.
Yeah,
we'll see. I mean, they got to produce. I mean, I mean, Brent is recruited well, but you look at ratings now and NFL draft, and it ain't happening.
Sure.
What do you think about the Nagy personnel department? How that all?
I like it. Everything I've heard about this man is positive. So, it's like an NFL now, and they're treating it like that. Oh, you got people say, no, he doesn't have money. The payroll they have, all the people have working there. Are you kidding me? Right?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing that they go out and they're like, well, we're going to have cost cutting. Everybody's like, oh, well, this is a problem. And then they go out and spend millions on a personnel department.
It's good. It'll all pay off if they can find guys that might be under the rock.
You know, kind of crazy about recruiting and your message board. Is
By the way, big scooper Al for a long time.
I've been on
every time you talk shit on
no
him,
one knows
he sees it.
No one knows my name, and I don't post. Although
they by the way, it's not just you, Al. They hate everyone that has a radio show. They hate me. They hate Eddie. They hate you. They hate.
It's part of indoctrination.
Let me tell you a great message board story. There was this guy when Jeff Cape was here coaching. And
he's blocked everyone.
This dude kept on coming after me. So when you had the separate basketball board, and he kept making stuff up that Jeff didn't like me, and I go, this is, and my son went to defend me, which was a mistake. And said, and then he attacks my son. I called Kerry. No, I called Sooner Red Zone, and
Oh God.
and he gave me the name. He knew the guy.
I'm sure.
I said, my name is Al Eschbach, and yours is. By the way, if you, I don't care if you post negative about me, but if you just lie, I'm gonna tell everybody your name, where you work, and your phone number. He never posted again.
Yeah.
They call that doxing now, Al, and it's not cool. But no.
Sometimes those people need to be doxxed, though.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, they hide behind a fake name, some of them. But no, again, there's reason me you know, and I'll say I've drank the Kool-Aid. I think they're going to be decent.
What do you? Let me just ask you, like, you know, everything that we're doing here. What do you think about, you know, podcasting and YouTube and all that stuff that's coming up?
I love it. I mean, I love it. And again, I'm old school, but
you've always been like, you were an adopter of the message boards before anybody else in the media thought much of it.
Yeah. No, I think the information that you put out is really, really good. You know, I think also as being an old sports writer, that how to come up with new stuff like you guys do and stories, because it's not as easy as people think.
No, and
it's a lot of meetings.
We've been pretty lucky this year too. I think the access for the team has been.
Brent's been awesome.
It's been awesome.
Well, and the assistant
being
coach,
able
you get to talk to assistant coaches.
It was unbelievable. We hadn't talked to Emmett Jones in like 2 years.
Well, let me tell you something. They had this thing Monday night at Red Rock. Al Smith hosted it. They do it every year, and they tell me it was more positive stuff that the coaches and everything were fired up. Every coach spoke to all the donors and everything, and they were really, really fired up. So
we've seen that just through the various media opportunities we've had with the assistant coaches, and even like the coaches luncheon that we were at, Carrie, a couple weeks ago. That was about as like positive as you can have for a team that's in reality that's coming off of a 6 and 7 season for the second time in 3 years.
And I'll tell you this, like I wasn't around long enough to see what Mike Leach was out at practice. I imagine it's probably kind of him, like he's kind of introverted and keeps things to himself. But like, you know, I've seen a lot of offensive coordinators, like Kevin Wilson. When he was an offensive coordinator, he was still an offensive line coach, so he was out there yelling at those guys. But like Lincoln was pretty reserved out on a practice field. Like the thing I like about Arbuckle is like he jumps around. He jumps down people's throats. Like he gets after it. And I've never seen an offensive coordinator that's like that. And I'm saying that in a good way. I like it. I think he's going to be really good.
That's a great hire. That right there can help to save Brent's job.
He came in and gave them a boost of confidence just from being there with a game plan, this is how we're going to get this done, as opposed to last year. And we talked about it at the time. I think we overlooked it at the time, but there was so much dysfunction with what they were doing offensively a year ago that it was kind of fucked from the beginning.
Like we would go out there when we went out to San Antonio. Like we got to watch practice because of the bowl game, and like I think all of us were like, "What does Seth do?"
Yeah,
because he just didn't seem to talk to anybody or do anything.
It goes back to the Jackson Arnold stuff. I mean, he had no direction a year ago. And we talked to guys yesterday about Michael Hawkins and how much he's taken a step from Ben Arbuckle and John Kuzinski just over the last... Kuzieski. John Kuzinski was the guy that he would have put a bomb in your mailbox, right? It was just, I don't know. It's much better.
Well, and there was, you'd look at the game and you'd look at the plays and there was no wow factor. I mean,
yeah.
Right? I mean, you do something different and just...
Well, they tried in the LSU game, and it ended with Bauer Sharp throwing an interception.
And you know what it was? You know, when Lincoln was here, they had so many explosive plays. They had none of that under Seth Luttrell.
What was the longest runner last year? I mean,
it was the Javante Barnes, like 80-yarder, but it was against Maine when they were getting beat.
It just you're and as much as I dislike Lincoln Riley, and I do dislike the man.
I was going to ask you that.
They had an identity.
Yeah.
And that's why I remember when Bob Stoops hired me, he goes, didn't have an identity under Josh Heupel. There was no identity last year. And there's going to be an identity. I mean, you got to... And when Biedenbaugh goes, guys, Lincoln Riley, again, Lincoln Riley is a brilliant offensive guy.
Yeah. Now, you're not... I think you and Jim are over here on Campus Corner during games. You're not actually in the stadium. You haven't been in recent years.
No.
Any thoughts of going back for the Michigan game just to see Michigan play at Oklahoma?
Here's the thing, Kerry. I got one eye. And that press box is really high.
Yeah.
So I can analyze a game, see a game better than just watching it on TV, and then
I think everybody can that's not in the press box. Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And you risk your life just getting up there.
But yeah, I'm excited. That's going to tell the tale of the season. I mean, here we are. That 2 weeks from Saturday, we're going to know about 11 o'clock on that day what this team is about. I like the matchup and the fact that Michigan's just going to try to run the ball at OU. And I don't think teams are going to be able to have a lot of success doing that.
It feels like, just on paper, one of the biggest Septembers in the modern era, at least since I've been covering this, just to build momentum going into Dallas and having a sense about themselves.
I go back to 1984. Switzer had bad years compared. It'd be good years now.
Yeah, sure.
Winning 8 games. I go, my God,
kill for an 8-win team.
And they had to go to Pittsburgh in a September game, and they went and they beat Pitt pretty bad, and that just paved the way for championship seasons after that. So, the September, and then Auburn coming in here.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really interesting to see what happens. And what's crazy, guys, and you'll appreciate this, how sad things are. Like, I'll ask my students, well, what's a good season? They go 8 wins, and I go, that gets Switzerland fired if you can't win 8 games. And you can't. It got to get better, guys. It has
to.
Yeah,
has to get better.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
Well, I mean, for some people, 9 wins is
this year, nine wins would be
9 wins. You might be in the college football playoff, which would be a spectacular. I mean, if OU could win 9 games,
they beat the right teams. Yeah,
he'll probably be in contention to win
all your home
Coach
games.
of the Year.
Got to win all your home games. Tennessee and South Carolina are winnable games.
Sure.
Texas is a rivalry. I mean, come on.
I know you're going to have to get out of here. Last thing I want to ask, because people ask me this all the time, and like coming in here talking to us about this, like you're still teaching, you still feel a lot of passion for sports. Are you just going to die on the air? Are you never going to retire?
No, I'll be in Thailand someday probably.
Now we can talk more about Thailand. This is a podcast if you want to. More. I mean, you say enough on the radio already, but we could really get into it.
I go there. I've been all over the world. Travel's my passion. And
just stay out of Medellin.
Oh my God, you bring up a nightmare with that. Oh my God, kidnapped.
It's crazy.
Drugged. I mean, oh my God,
crazy.
Robbed. I know people there, and it's beautiful. It's cheap. It's nice, and I get away. And you know what though? I tell you what. 2 things I do. I go to ESPN, CBS, and Sooner Scoop. I mean, the 3 things I check on every day. Because you guys.
When you're on vacation,
when I'm on vacation, I still, those are the 3, one, and I tell my sons, if you need you got a thing called AOL. You can get a hold of me, okay?
There you go.
God, have you mastered like ESPN Plus? Like, are you okay with all the streaming and all that?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty good. I stream. Yeah, okay. Of course, I'm a music freak and also a movie freak. So,
I think I've asked you this. Do you have a big vinyl collection?
Kerry, I had to kill myself. Or no, when I got divorced, somehow my wife moved the stuff into her place, and then she lost it.
Oh my God!
I had every Beatle album.
Oh my God! I had probably original pressings and
all
that
the Motown stuff. I was a massive vinyl. It was called then the Columbia Record.
Oh yeah.
I was a member of that, and I was getting. Oh yeah, I was massive into the vinyl and everything. Yeah, and it's gone, just disappeared.
That's unbelievable.
But you still do that stuff?
Oh yeah. I built a whole record room just that has like acoustic paneling everywhere, just so it sounds better.
Oh man, that is.
I'll have you over sometime.
Yeah, I mean,
I got some Marvin Gaye and I got some Otis Redding and
Motown. I just the
Sam
Temptations, Smokey, and it's as good as it gets. But no, I'm ready for the season and
ready to see an offense again. That's what I'm ready for.
Yeah, and a quarterback.
Yeah.
That can play. I mean,
I think he's pretty good.
Everybody was so just beaten down from last year that I think just moving the ball in a general direction is going to help people.
The fact, when I read your stuff, when George is saying, that the offense dominates the defense.
Yeah.
I mean,
they've had good days here during the preseason.
And how about Blaylock? I mean, kid, his sprint relay team set a national record last year.
Yeah.
So the stuff you hear about him, and we'll see how good Ott is, and if he's ever healthy.
By the way, we all know who Blaine is. We have all pretty much blocked him. Who is Skinny?
Skinny is a guy that works in that carries a sports animal in Elk City.
Oh, okay. If you don't know what we're talking about, Traber gets most of his information through text from Blaine and Skinny.
Well, and then also he has his Thunderman.
Oh, he has a Thunder guy now.
He's had the Thunder guy and everything. And Tram and I keep asking him, who's your Thunder guy? And he won't tell. I said,
won't give up his source. That's great.
It's Sam Preston.
Let me tell you something. People on the message board that attack Barry Trammell. Barry Trammell, one of the nicest people you've ever met.
He's an institution.
And he's an institution, and he's a nice guy. I mean, get a life, people. I mean,
the crazy thing about Tram, and I've always thought this is, he puts this phone number out so you can call him if you have a problem, which is just insane.
You're right. Yeah,
I know.
He does that.
He's done that forever.
Yeah, but come on, he knows what's going on.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, I put my phone number out there for charity stuff we've done, and I'll get texts every once in a while from people like wanting to know information. But for the most part, people are good about
and
that.
And late night phone calls from
the message board is such an exaggerated reality.
And you guys get criticized for having Joe C doing some podcasts, and those podcasts, by the way, are really good.
Yeah, they are. They got some big guests coming up.
They do a great job. They ask really good questions. I told Joe C that. I mean, it's really cool, but they attack you. Oh, yeah, you got him on the payroll.
I'm still trying to figure out how nepotism works when no one's related to each other. So people love throwing out the Nepo baby stuff, and like Kirk Herbstreit's kid's doing something for On 3 now, and everybody's like nepotism. Like, he has no ties.
Well,
to On
hey,
3.
Remember they used to rip Patty Gasso's son?
Oh, yeah. I think that's turned out well.
They suck on offense because, hey, she hired a son.
They won 4 national championships in a row, and I guarantee you get on the message boards in February when they start the season, somebody will find a reason why, somebody shouldn't be hitting the 8 hole because JT Gasso doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. But it's the way the world is now, and you got to adapt to it, right?
Yeah.
You ever guys get when they attack you personally? You ever want to respond?
I used to all the time.
I used to,
and then that's when Parker Thune nailed you.
No, I just
pause. That is one of the things that I think I've grown from. I would throw back, and nowadays that I don't
gotta ignore it.
It doesn't even bother me anymore.
I've said this all the time. Like, people on there don't really think it's real life. Like, they don't think that what they say is it's a game, it's a joke. It's I had a friend, one of my best friends, he passed away, but there used to be a message board. You remember hornfans.com? It was like it's really big.
Yeah.
Texas. His username was Davy Crockett surrendered, and he did that just to drive people insane in Texas. And it did. They hated him with
the original troll.
He was one of the original trolls on the internet. Like,
and yeah, there are, and you can tell which ones are trolls and everything. But Carrie and I go back a long time. Carrie, the magazine
Sooners
Illustrated, which was Barry Switzer created this thing back in 1980 or so.
Got together with some boosters and came
Mike
up
Henry.
with it. Yeah.
And then Carrie was running that magazine, and Carrie, I always had trouble sending stuff on the computer.
I'd be in Columbia, Missouri. The game would be over. I'd finish my game stories, and then I'd get a call from Al. I can't send in my. He did a big column every game, and that was when we were doing every week. Sooners Illustrated would come out every week. Every game. Yeah. Like, now they're like down to 10 or so. Jay Upchurch does a great job with it.
Does a tremendous job.
But it's the business has just changed. But like, you had to get your story out, so you could never get. You always had internet problems, so I'd have to go across town. And get him.
It's crazy.
What was it? The Texas. What were those computers called? The Texas
Compact, I think, is what you had.
Everything.
But dial-up stuff. Yeah.
I mean, that's right. It was dial-up stuff and everything. So, no, it's changed, and you got to win football games, guys.
That's what it comes down to.
You have to win football.
And you know what? Brent knows that, and everybody on his staff knows that. I mean,
you know what? I don't know if you guys picked this up. I did. I thought it was unusual. remember the SEC Media Day when he spoke to the media? Mm-hmm. He thanked the Board of Regents and the head of the Board of Regents. I have never seen an OU coach do that before.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's a big year.
Right, yeah. It's
a big year. It doesn't have the people that were originally in his corner, and Joe C. Who knows what the powers that be are going to want out of is 8 wins good enough to keep Brent around? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that. Probably depends on a lot.
You know what? Might survive. You can't. 8 wins is not OU football.
Yeah.
No.
So, we can talk about the schedule again. When everybody brings up the schedule, why are these other teams suddenly better than OU?
Sure.
When OU historically has always been better than these schools. And people can talk about NIL. Oh, you got more money than people think. People think that we talk about this massive staff they have. OU has money.
Yeah.
The problem is they don't have more money than everyone. They don't have more money than Texas. They don't have more money than Miami.
But you think they got more money in
Tech.
South Carolina,
Yeah.
Mississippi. Come on, they got more money. So just go in the right direction. I like what Brent has done. I really have liked the offseason. When you make a mistake, he fixed the mistake. So there's reason for optimism this year.
And the thing that I always say is, if he succeeds, he's here for the long haul, and they would be good for a really long time if he figures out how to do this.
Get this. You know who won't be there if they're good this year? Next year?
Ben Arbuckle.
Ben Arbuckle. That's exactly right.
Could be right back at where they were.
Well, and then you don't. The Seth Luttrell hire was a lazy hire.
Yeah.
I mean, go after the best, the hottest name out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I think he's learned that lesson.
I think he's learned that lesson also, and learned it in a painful manner.
Well, I think that's why he went after Jim Knowles the way he did.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, and again, they were going to pay him big bucks. So don't say they don't have money. They have money.
Well, it was a historic day. We finally got Al Eschbach on. I'm glad you came on the unofficial
Awesome
40.
cameo.
Yeah. So
It's the big league setup here. I mean,
it's
really
getting
cool.
bigger. We got the new set being delivered next week. So I'll show you on the way out. But
We'll have some
get
air
George back
conditioning
in
as
here.
well.
Yeah, our air
struggling
conditioner's down today. So
Great to be on, guys.
Thanks, Al.
Good to see
Appreciate
you,
it,
Al.
man. Well, we'll bring George back in
Yeah,
here.
we can bring George back in.
And I'll
Georgie!
get Al out of here real quick. I'll be
Sounds
right
good. What a cameo. What a moment. Unofficial 40 history was made. Josh, we were, obviously, I think we've kind of laid it out there, but I don't know if we want to go back to the Doom Pod side of things now that Al's gone, but it does seem like there is optimism and there is a lot of expectation that goes into this thing. It's just going to be rather interesting. Did you happen to go back and watch any of the player interviews or coach interviews that we did yesterday? Anything pop out to you from Jay Valai or Emmett Jones or Todd Bates?
No, I did want to ask you though. I heard. No, I did. It's not fair. I heard some of it. I heard the Elijah Thomas, Malik Neighbors comparison.
Yeah.
Who got compared to Stephon Gilmore?
Cortland Guillory.
Wow. I don't know if all of our listeners know what that. I mean, like Stephon Gilmore is a long-time Pro Bowl level corner. That's a massive comparison. Anyway, Eddie, how much does 8 months ago how much would he hate now you? Because I swore 8 months ago, I was like, I'm not buying in. I'm not doing this. I've done it, and I've looked like an asshole 2 of the last 3 years. I'm not doing this. And now here I am, and I'm like, I like what I'm hearing. I kind of believe in what I'm hearing, and I don't trust it.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. Definitely team show me. I do think though that when you go to SEC Media Day, and George, I'm sure that you got this a lot. Everybody that we talked to, everybody that we came in contact to from a national side is bought in with John Mateer. They're bought in with what Oklahoma's doing on the defensive line. It kind of, I guess, reinforced maybe my skepticism, just in terms of what this is. But at the same time, I do fall back on, kind of what George talked about and finding ways to win. Can they get over that hump? I think that there's like a special, atmosphere that Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer brought certainly to the offensive side. And then they've just said all the right things. And I don't know, I every time I try to buy back in to what they're doing and the vision that's out there right now, there is a small part of me that we do this every year where you think that like, oh, this guy's had a great preseason. It's going to be built into something bigger than it actually is. But, with a Danny Okoye or with a David Stone, guys that were highly ranked and highly recruited out of high school, it does mean something, I think, at the end of the day. And I think that there's been a little bit of development, whether we want to see it, or whether we want to admit it or not. They did make some steps. Everything was just so shitty on the offensive side of the ball last year that I kind of bank on this idea that, like, if they would have just won the Missouri game, and I think it's not even arguable the way that they lost that game, 7-6 is such a big difference from a narrative standpoint around the Oklahoma, bubble, that I think it would have been maybe a step in the right direction. You would have been able to explain some things.
But I also think that they kind of like, there's another side of that they needed to kind of like have a wake up call in a sense in terms of, I don't know, maybe things would be different if they had won a couple more games and maybe they don't, move on from Seth Littrell. I think they would have anyways, but maybe Jackson sticks around. I don't know. There's all these things. Like I think that everything happens for a reason. And I do think that Oklahoma, everything they've done this offseason and even in camp, trying to keep guys healthy, all that stuff, they've done everything right to give themselves a chance to be pretty good this year. And I think that they've built a really good roster. They made a really good hire in Ben Arbuckle. I think that one thing we haven't talked enough about is I think they made two really good hires in Wes Goodwin and Nate Dreiling. Like, I think that those are going to be huge helps on that side. You brought in Kevin Wilson, too, on the offensive side. Like, they've given themselves a very good chance. The problem where I can't get over to the hump and why, I saw some people, I put in my mailbag this week, they're like, has, camp changed your thought on what this team can do this year? And I said no, and my prediction is still 8-4 is what I think they're going to go. And it's just because all I can think back to is when they had a really good team in 2023, they still found a way to blow it in a couple games that they absolutely should not have blown it. And they've done that now in 3 straight years. And 2022, you can give them a pass a little bit, but you even think back to that year. It's like you blew the Texas Tech game. You blew the West Virginia game. How much different would that first season be viewed if they would have won 8 or 9 games that year, which they probably should have? How big of a difference would it be if you viewed 2023, they would have made the Big 12 championship game, which they should have. They were in the driver's seat to make the playoff, even after one loss, and they couldn't do it. And then of course last year what happened, and that's the part where it's like I get into DoomPod mode of I need to see it, and I think it's awesome that we're going to get to find out in week 2.
Do you guys think that, as many of these freshmen as we've talked about, whether it be Cortland Guillory, whether it be Elijah Thomas, he might be in a different category alongside Michael Fasusi. I do think that as much as we've talked about some of these freshmen coming in and making immediate impacts, that we're going to look up and get 5-6 games in, and they're not playing maybe as much as we think that they will at the beginning. Does that make sense? Like, I think Elijah Thomas, definitely a contributor. Michael Fasusi,
I think Elijah
definitely
Thomas might
contributor. Ryan Foje, definitely going to be a contributor. I just don't know if I can get there with a, and I guess maybe there's not as many as I was thinking there were, because I kind of consider somebody like a Davon Thomas a freshman, if
Davon
you will.
Thomas.
Devon Thomas. Devon Jordan.
Jordan.
I'm going to do that a lot this year. I already have a feeling. I do think that some of those guys, they have to take major steps. And maybe we haven't talked about the Peyton Bowen, Jacoby Johnson.
By the way, the people that were
Xavier,
the people that have been
Zion Kearney
questioning about Bowen, I think he's going to start now at strong safety.
It kind of seems like since we had that podcast 2 weeks ago, and maybe it coincided with us talking to Peyton after practice, that all of a sudden the buzz for Peyton Thomas was there. God
Bowen,
bless.
wow,
I'm full carry right now. I'm kind of wondering where he's
Somebody
at.
call Carey back so Eddie will return.
Yeah, I hope he never
Eddie
hears
is
this part of
gone
it.
full Carey.
This is very embarrassing for my my sanity right now. But yeah, like I do think that there are guys that we just haven't really maybe overlooked in a way. And I would say that like Peyton Bowen is one of those guys that is going to end up having a really good year. And we look back and we go, yeah, he should have been on some of these preseason watch list. But I understand why he's not.
Got to stay. He's got to stay healthy.
Sure.
I think he's got all the talent in the world. He's just got to stay on the field.
No, I get it. I get it for sure. We want to talk. Let's talk recruiting, because I think that obviously there's been a lot made. We did the recruiting report. You can watch on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel. We put that up on Monday, coming out of the weekend where Jake Krull started his season. Obviously, we got the commitment from Jake Krull, and then Tank Carrington, Josh, and we talked about him kind of more in depth on the recruiting report on Monday, but certainly one of those guys. And when we talk about Todd Bates and what he's been able to do for the interior of the OU defensive line, they've been able to stack some bodies. Maybe Tank Carrington's going to be one of those guys as he joins the 2026 recruiting class last week.
Yeah, and what's interesting, guys, is, I had talked to you guys on that recruiting report, and I still haven't had a chance to talk to Tank. He's been kind of hit and miss. Still, that'll get done. It just hasn't happened yet. Talking to a few people, though, I told you guys during the recruiting report, I saw him at the Navy All-American game in San Antonio back in early January, and I talked about how small he was then. He looked very light. I have talked to some people who told me that he might have been going through some kind of illness, like fairly kind of long-standing, kind of a problem he was dealing with, and may have lost like 20, 25 pounds going into that, and like now it's back up in like the 265, 270 range, which is kind of in that Grayson Halton conversation, like more along those lines of like, okay, yeah, he could get to 290 at some point, like no problem. That you say, okay, that's a viable SEC defensive lineman, rather than a guy that you're like, is he going to get to 275? Like, there's just that question. So I'm a little more bought in. And again, I still think some of this is Oklahoma thinks he's pretty talented, didn't have to compete, everybody has looked at the Jim Nagy quotes and some of the things he said where he just, hey, if we see a value, we're going to make a move. And I think that's what happened here. I think they saw a player they could get that fit into their NIL stuff and might allow them some room to make some other moves. And we can talk about some of those. Some of the gossip on Oklahoma setting up some visits with a couple of surprising players. So, I think that's really what you've got here with Tank Carrington is this guy is talented enough to kind of take a flyer on, and then let's see how his body develops over time.
Josh, who are some of those guys that you're talking about?
Yeah, the most interesting one, we talked, I think we talked about Caden Hall in the recruiting report.
Yes, we did.
Safety from Florida that's a UF commit. He's flirting with the idea of taking a visit. I think that one's really interesting, but we've kind of covered that. The really interesting one that I hadn't heard a lot about that kind of caught me off guard, our guy Sam Spiegelman caught wind of this, was Jalen Scott, a safety from Alabama that is currently an Auburn commitment. Has already flipped once from Florida State to Auburn, now committed to Auburn. He's a guy from Mobile, so not the easiest situation to kind of cover. But now he is, I should say, he is a 27 guy. But you're seeing, like I said, Oklahoma starting to dive into some different recruitments and kind of getting involved in different ways. So I kind of just want to watch that because it feels like I feel like even he is indicative of what we're seeing, where Oklahoma is both doubling back on guys like Caden Hall, but also kind of turning over some rocks in some unusual places. And this kind of fits the conversation, guys, we were having earlier about Auburn, where if things go bad at Auburn, there's guys, whether it's 26, 27, whatever, that Oklahoma may take some interest in and maybe see if they could pull off a steal or two.
If things are going well for Oklahoma, it seems like that's something that Oklahoma fans might want to keep an eye on, is some of these schools like a Florida, like a maybe an Arkansas, that could be looking at head coaching changes in 2026. It'll be very interesting. What are some of the other names that are out there? Are they kind of connected in that same realm, Josh, as far as guys that are committed elsewhere that, if that school that they're committed to ends up not having a good year, you could kind of cherry pick some of these guys?
Yeah, I mean, some of the guys, like I said, Florida is one I mentioned on the recruiting report. I think Oklahoma fans should be rooting heavily against Florida right now because not only, we've already mentioned, I'm just going to go.
Caden Hall.
But you look at their class. Davian Gross, who we talked about just a couple weeks ago. I think he is very interested in Oklahoma. If Oklahoma can get off that 5-1 start, it wouldn't shock me at all if he showed up for a visit at some point. Maybe let's see. Is Oklahoma the home team in Texas this year? I can't
Texas
remember. I haven't looked at it. Okay. So it wouldn't be for that. But again, a visit's entirely possible. Another couple of guys. I don't think the door is fully closed on KJ Ford. I think that is still a possibility. That's still something that could be in play. The big defensive end from Duncanville that OU has really coveted for a long time. And a guy that when Jake Cruel committed, he sent out an emoji of like a crying emoji, I think he and Jake know each other a little bit, like the idea of playing together. And I think there was always that, Oklahoma and Florida were both realistic possibilities for both of them. They just kind of ended up on different ends of the fence. One other guy I would mention in that class is C.J. Branaugh, a quarterback from Winter Garden, Florida, that Oklahoma, Jay Valai went down and saw this spring. Like, they put some effort into him. He committed to Nebraska early, flipped to Florida. I don't see any way he doesn't go to Florida if things, if Billy Napier solidifies that situation and they're okay. But if things get shaky, he's a guy that Oklahoma, I think, has enough track record with that at least they could probably bring him up for an official and kind of see what happens.
Michigan weekend obviously is going to be a massive recruiting weekend in Dorman, which is, I think sometimes a little bit unusual these days that you're getting so many of these big non-conference games that you can kind of feature and host guys with. You debuted the 2027 state rankings, Sooner State rankings. How many of those guys from the list in the 2027 group that we've talked about, it's going to be a very elite class in OK Preps, how many of those guys do you think Oklahoma will have on campus on September 6th? And then just overall from the rankings, kind of get the feeling this is one of the more talented classes that you've put together, just in terms of overall class from top to bottom.
That's what should tell you something about how big or how much emphasis Oklahoma is putting on this weekend. I've got 12 2027 guys confirmed coming in that weekend. All have offers. Not one of them have I confirmed from the state of Oklahoma yet. Like, I haven't even gotten into the Cooper Hackett's, the Caden Pennies, all those guys. Now, I can bet you money 5, 6, 7 of those guys will probably be on campus just because it's such a huge weekend and a lot of guys are going to want to be there. But, again, I think you're looking at just in that rising junior class, 20, 25 guys are going to be on campus with offers, maybe more than that. I think Oklahoma is getting such a good response from recruits that maybe they're making this weekend an even bigger deal than they expected as far as numbers and how many people they're going to have there. They know this is a spectacle. It's not often you get the spotlight, and I think they realize what a huge springboard this could be, and we've talked about it all off season, what this could mean to not only the 25 season, but how you close out 2026 recruiting, the great first step towards 2027 stuff. There is all the reason in the world to kind of believe that this is a springboard. Now, like you said, Eddie, the 27 class in state's crazy. Cooper Hackett is almost certainly going to be a wire-to-wire number one. You just don't find tackles with his ability very often. I mean, he's the number 11 overall player in the industry composite. Pretty unlikely there's going to be a guy that is going to challenge that. Now, the crazy thing is I can go all the way down to probably 7, maybe 8, and I could say there's more often than not, that player would be the number one state player in the state of Oklahoma. That's how deep the class is. I mean, guys, number 9 in the state has an Oklahoma offer. Caleb Dillard has multiple SEC offers.
Sure.
You just I'm into the high teens, and you're talking about guys with P4 offers. That's not common in Oklahoma going into your junior year. It's a really, really impressive class.
Who's a guy that's maybe not in the top 15 right now that you could see moving into that by the end of their junior season? Maybe somebody that we're not even talking about right now that you go, shit, he put together a really good junior film, and all of a sudden Oklahoma's going to get involved.
I think it's 2 guys back-to-back, 17 and 18. You've got TJ Taylor, a safety from Booker T. A guy that I won't pretend, going into film eval, I didn't know him. Like, I didn't know who he was, didn't know anything about him. I noticed him while watching Joseph Graves' tape,
Sure.
and then I kind of was like, okay, let me go look at him. And that's the other thing. This class lost Joseph Graves, like a no doubt top 10 guy in this class. So it could have been even more ridiculous. But with 17, you've got TJ Taylor, big, long safety, very physical, kind of rangy, kind of reminds me of like a little bit bigger Amarian Robinson, like kind of in that vein, like can play in a lot of different ways. I don't know if he's that good yet. I need to see more, but like there are physical traits that kind of, remind me of him. And then I would say at 18 is Bradford Mitchell from Stillwater.
6'2", 210. I mean,
yeah,
that
can
matches
run,
up.
Like, can really run. Getting a chance to go by Stillwater, seeing them up close. Guys, for those that, haven't been paying attention, Stillwater's been really good for the last decade. They are not going anywhere. They have got a lot of good talent. Just like some big bodies. They've got some good athletes. David Thomas, Rivals, just put out the first top 100 for the 2028 class. Their star receiver that OU has also offered. He is number 1 in the state for the 2028 class and is a guy that, I think his first game was against Owasso and he had like 180 yards receiving, like as a freshman in high school. Like he's unbelievably talented. So it's Owasso or Union. I may be mixing that up. But anyway, they are very good. And Bradford Mitchell is kind of a stand-up edge kind of guy, probably 6'1.5", 6'2", like you said, about 205, 210, and can really run. He has no idea what he's doing yet. Like, he's still figuring it out. He's just a super good athlete. But as he pieces it together and continues to fill out his frame, there's a lot of roles in a defense you could find for him. And he feels like a guy that if it did come together with as versatile as he is as an athlete, he's a guy who you could take interest in because of how creative Brent Venables is with his defense.
Josh, not on topic in terms of the OK Preps, but I did just want to ask, do you have any update on just where Peyton Houston is and his recruitment in the and if Oklahoma doesn't land him, do you have any idea of where they might go with 2027 quarterback recruiting?
So with Peyton, I think there's still plenty of optimism. Like, I know there's some predictions in for USC. I don't think those are far-fetched or anything. There's no question. It's OU fans will remember this. Like, when Lincoln Riley gets involved in a recruitment, guys listen. They just do. But I do think every time I talk to Peyton, he just, like, and you guys know how this is. You've done enough interviews. Like, when you talk to a guy about something and they get, like, I don't know if wistful's the right word, but, like, it's almost like that. Like, I kind of wish I was back in Oklahoma. Or, man, I love talking to Coach Arbuckle, and he loves Coos as well. Like, there's more than one relationship he really values at OU, and I think that's really important. Obviously also proximity to his home, I think that's important. But, there's several options that would make sense for him. I think OU, USC, I could believe, Clemson got involved this summer. So, like, there's a few things there that make sense. I kind of feel like it ends up probably maybe coming down to OU and USC. We'll watch that. As far as who they would look at, George, like, there's not really been a clear-cut option just because largely OU hasn't – like, I think they feel good about Peyton Houston, and much like Lincoln Riley used to recruit, they don't really pivot until they have to. Now, one guy I would say, just because I've seen him live and I know OU has had some contact with him and largely, kind of back in the summer, and that's Malachi Ziegler, a kid from Benton, Louisiana. Now, SMU has been hard on him for a long time. They're very involved. This dude, like, while Peyton Houston's, like, super refined and really, like, been around it for a long time, Ziegler is a guy that is wild upside, like, just incredibly gifted. I saw him at the Under Armour camp in Dallas. Massive arms, super athlete. He's a guy that rolls off the bus and you're like, I want that guy. Like, I don't know anything else, but that guy will do. And I know some coaches that really I think we've got him at number 13 in the country. He's like a top 175 guy. I know there are people that think he's a top 50 player in the country. Like, and I mean, coaching staffs really think he could be special. And Rhett Lashley's got a pretty good track record of finding quarterbacks, so I wouldn't bet against SMU and their eval.
Much like everything else with Oklahoma right now when it comes to the recruiting trail, I would imagine if John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle have a lot of success early, it will be much like money, how that kind of just shows up out of nowhere when a team's winning football games. I would imagine the interest and the intrigue from people out there across the college football recruiting world would only gain traction there if they were to find some success. So we'll see. It's crazy to think that when's high school football starting? I know that they're on the practice field, but first game's 2 weeks from this weekend?
Yeah. Yep, 0 week is the first week of college football, like the first full week of college football. So,
okay.
Now, there'll be some scrimmages, and
Texas.
I am trying to work out getting to maybe 1 or 2 of those this weekend. Going to see some local guys here in Houston. But, over the course of the year, we're going to see Peyton Houston. We're going to see Bo Bentley. We're going to see Jake Krull. So, people looking for that video, that content, like we'll have all that. And I will probably be doing as much Oklahoma high school football as I've done in 5 or 6 years, just because of how good that 27 class is and how much we need to cover those guys.
Just make sure you check in with Van Shea Ivan if you're coming up to Oklahoma. He's kind of like like the mob bosses. You'd have to go check in. I think he runs everything in OK Preps. Pay respects. That's exactly right. All right. I think that's going to do it. I can't believe that we're 10 days away from the start of the season. Obviously, we have a ton of coverage over on SoonerScoop.com. You can just go to SoonerScoop.com. You can sign up for $1 right now. Bob and George have been kicking ass in terms of content and stories. Obviously, Josh, you'll be on the high school side of things as well as some of the team stuff. And we will go from there next week when we reconvene for the Unofficial 40. It'll be game week in the state of Oklahoma, which is nuts. We'll be inside probably 24 hours from kickoff in Stillwater by the time that we record next week on Wednesday. And then obviously
who do they play?
The start of the season for Oklahoma. Tennessee Martin is the first game in Boone Pickens. Which,
home of... was it Sam Franklin? Didn't he go to Tennessee Martin?
I think that's right.
Shout out Sam Franklin.
Shout out Sam Franklin, one of the great running backs in Oklahoma football history.
Yes. Before we go, K-State, Iowa State, who you got?
I'm going to go Iowa State. I don't know why. I have nothing. The Big 12 is psychotic. We were talking about it on the radio the other day that even Oklahoma State that I feel like, usually you kind of knew okay, OSU's going to have these guys. There's some familiarity there. The guys that they took to Big 12 Media Day, I legitimately didn't know that they played at Oklahoma State.
Do you think OU would win the Big 12 this year?
Oh, God, that's a loaded question.
Not Texas. Texas isn't in the Big 12. If you just threw Oklahoma in this conference this year, would they win it?
Man.
If they didn't, then it's kind of like going 7-5 in the SEC. You need to make some changes. OU's roster is too talented not to win the Big 12.
There's a bunch of, and I guess the one thing that you could lean on is there is some, obviously expectation for what this defense could be. I think the one thing that you talk about with the Big 12 is the 8 quarterbacks coming back as returning starters. I do think that they would be able to combat that. I just don't know what the offense looks like. Can you win a shootout against whomever that may be?
But I don't think Oklahoma would be in a lot of shootouts because of the defense. I think they
would
win. I think they would win the Big 12. But I think you could also pick 5 or 6 SEC teams, and they would also win the Big 12.
Yep.
Are we cool with Bear?
What kind of numbers does R. Mason Thomas put up in a season of the Big 12? With all those quarterbacks and throwing the ball, and
probably 12 sacks or something.
Yeah, I mean he's going to put up some numbers.
Are we cool with BYU true freshman quarterback Bear Hankmeyer or Backmeyer wearing number 47? He was named the starter yesterday. He's number 47. His older brother Hank Backmeyer.
I hope he's good, man.
Boise
That'd be
State.
Awesome.
It's I like when BYU's kind of good at football.
They were good last year, weren't they?
I know. Yeah.
I like when college football is weird, and that's a weird thing that would never happen in the NFL. It's one of those things where you're like, yeah, okay, let's get weird. Let's be a 47. What the hell are we doing? Yeah, let's get
Looks
crazy.
like a punter.
I love that. I don't know why, but I do.
There's something just weird about it.
Go K-State, by the way. My cousin, he's the offensive line coach there at K-State now, so rooting for them. I hope they can go win.
That's
sure.
where I'd go.
I'll be a Kansas State fan.
Question.
What's that?
Yeah, I'd be on K-State just because Iowa State has a habit of being a slow starter. They just do. And I think playing 0 week, traveling, like all that stuff, and I don't know, like Avery Johnson just feels like he's going to run for like 170 yards and just go absolutely bananas.
There's a very real scenario where they play each other again in the Big 12 championship.
Wouldn't that be insane? Yeah. Second time they play, the first time they played
be
in
very
North
Big
America.
12, and they're both like 9-3, and the winner gets to go to the playoff.
We'll wait for Iowa State's implosion when they play Iowa this year. I don't know if that's in Iowa City.
They're definitely going to win. They're going to win in Dublin, and everybody's going to be like, Iowa State's legit, and then they're going to go lose to Iowa. Like
now that would
10-3.
That would be very Iowa State. That'd be very Big 12. All right.
Oh, it's in Ames. It's in Ames.
Oh, this year they're in Ames. The Cyhawk.
Yep.
Nobody misses a Cyhawk. When is it? September 6th? Or I guess they're probably off.
That's right.
Oh, it is September. They're off next
September 6th,
weekend, right?
11 a.m. Just as the Cyhawk was born to be.
Now, you talk about something that's just perfect. That's a game that should be played every year at 11 a.m.
Yes.
All right, that's going to do it. Special guest Al Eschbach. That was an exciting, electric surprise that was in store for everybody. And we will go from there. We will talk to you on the Unofficial 40. Make sure that you check out SoonerScoop.com as well as all the content we're putting out on the SoonerScoop.com YouTube channel. For Josh and George and Carrie and even Al, I'm Eddie. We'll see you next time. See if George catches this. Carrie, I mean, he'll catch it. Bye-bye.